There is a type of creature in this world. They are discovered by a few people, but their existence has not been confirmed. We collectively refer to these creatures as unidentified mysterious animal, unconfirmed biological entity, abbreviated as UMA. Hello everyone, welcome to the UMA series videos. In the heart of the African continent, the Congo River winds like a giant dragon, traversing through the vast tropical rainforest. This is one of the few untamed wilderness areas on Earth. The interplay of light and shadow between dense canopies seems like a puzzle deliberately left by nature. Today's topic comes from this ancient and mysterious land, a sensation in the mid-20th century, the Katanga giant snake. The Katanga giant snake is also called the Congo giant snake, Central African giant snake, Mokol or Pumina. In the mid-20th century, it was discovered in the Katanga region of Congo, a giant reptile. This is how the story goes. Remy van Lierde was a Belgian ace fighter pilot. In 1958, van Lierde, at Dunsfold Aerodrome in the UK, test flew the Hawker Hunter fighter jet, and became one of the first Belgians to break the sound barrier. One noon in August 1959. At that time, Colonel van Lierde had just completed a flight mission over Katanga in Belgian Congo. On the way back to Kamina Air Base, they encountered a massive snake-like creature. At that time, their flight altitude was about 125 meters. Colonel Gaines, who was flying alongside, saw it first. At first, he only noticed a huge tree trunk moving around a termite mound and extending forward by several meters. When he reported it to Colonel van Lierde via intercom, the plane had already flown about 1,500 meters past that location. They turned around and quickly spotted the creature again. Pilot Colonel van Lierde later stated in an interview that it was a large dark green snake with a white underbelly. Its estimated length was around 50 feet, which is approximately 15 meters. The head was definitely 2 feet wide and 3 feet long. It was large enough to swallow an adult human. It raised high its horse-like triangular head and stared straight at the aircraft. Colonel van Lierde had no doubt that if the plane entered its attack range, it would lunge at them instantly. Van Lierde tried to adjust the aircraft's altitude to maintain a height of 35 to 45 meters above the ground, and repeatedly flew over the giant snake, so that the flight engineer, Janssens, could use the camera to capture this shocking scene. Eventually, they managed to take a photograph. Due to fuel constraints, they did not have enough time to take a second photo. Remy van Lierde was considered a reliable witness. His military record indicated that he had strong observational skills and credibility. As a result, this photograph became one of the most famous pieces of evidence in the field of cryptozoology at the time. As for the exact location of the sighting, now, if we enter giant Congo snake on Google Earth, we can quickly locate its approximate position. On March 3, 2023, a Reddit user named Bart Donald Happy Meal posted a thread claiming to have found the exact coordinates of the snake photo. According to him, by comparing flight paths and the distribution of termite mounds, he found the location and compared it with the original photo. By lowering the image transparency, the result looked like this. After comparison, I believe this location is quite convincing. Now, let's go back in time. From late 1959 to April 1960, cryptozoologist Bernard Heuvelmans received a series of photographs and camera negatives from his assistant, and he meticulously documented the entire investigation process in his 1978 book The Last Dragons of Africa. To summarize briefly, the photos included annotations about the photographers, the equipment used, camera settings, and development process. Professor Heuvelmans' associate at the time, Colonial Dr. Georges Bonnevie, also accompanied van Lierde and Lieutenant Ginter on another flight over the sighting area, and recorded half a reel of 8mm color film of the landscape for comparison. Unfortunately, I was unable to find this comparative footage. According to Professor Heuvelmans, including Dr. Bonnevie, and 4 other eyewitnesses. All were experienced pilots, but the exact size of the snake was ultimately an estimate. Science requires precision. After all, anyone can make mistakes. To avoid bias in interpretation, Professor Yuvelmans entrusted the analysis to Belgian zoologist and photography expert Ray Catafos. He stated that using termite mounds as a reference for size was clearly inappropriate, since they varied significantly in shape and size. The most reasonable method was to measure the snake's body in the image, considering the aircraft's altitude. A rough estimate placed it at 40 meters, or even between 45 to 50 meters. Adding in the angle of the camera shot, the estimated length of the snake was around 12 to 14 meters, and its width between 43 to 47 centimeters. In summary, the 4 eyewitnesses' estimations were quite accurate, but the head width could only be roughly estimated at around 80 centimeters. As part of the snake's body was raised upright, the head's movement caused some blurring in the photograph. In 1962, American author Charles Hapgood wrote a letter to U.S. Air Force Colonel Lorenzo. In a letter to Colonel Lorenzo Burroughs, cryptozoologist Ivan Sanderson, during that period, also obtained the original photograph and enlarged it multiple times. After comparison, he stated, from the photograph, it was almost certain that the upper right third was covered by dense vegetation and trees, while the 2 black spots in the upper left corner were clearly shadows formed by termite mounds. The photograph was taken from a great height, because termite mounds could not be just an inch in size. This implied that the snake could be over 200 feet, which is about 61 meters long. The Kamina region has countless reports of giant lizards, and even discoveries of extinct animal skeletons. If the authenticity of this photograph could be proven, it would be a groundbreaking discovery. As we can see, Professor Ivan Sanderson's estimation differs significantly from the eyewitness descriptions. The reason why the Katanga giant snake gained attention was due to its enormous size, which far exceeded our understanding. We know that, even among the currently known longest living snake species in the world, the Southeast Asian reticulated python has a maximum recorded length of only about 10 meters, whereas the Katanga giant snake has a conservatively estimated body length of 15 meters. This length inevitably raises the question, could an ancient species of giant snake still be living in the depths of that rainforest? For example, the African gigantifus. The African gigantifus was a large python species that is now extinct. It is currently known as the 3rd largest snake species, after Paleophis and Titanoboa. It lived approximately 40 million years ago, during the Eocene epoch, primarily inhabiting the Prototethys Sea region, which is now modern-day Egypt, and parts of Algeria. Its estimated length ranged between 9 to 11 meters. Currently, only a few fossils of this species have been discovered, because they may have preyed on primitive elephants and other large prehistoric mammals. They are also known as the elephant-swallowing snake. Another contender, the mad cow bone snake, was also found in the African region. But could these ancient giants still exist in the modern world? Professor Bernard Yuvelmans believed that the Katanga giant snake might not be a prehistoric or undiscovered species, but rather an unusually large specimen of the Central African rock python. This remains the most widely accepted theory so far. The Central African rock python is currently known as the largest python species in Africa, and one of the longest snakes in the world, widely distributed across sub-Saharan Africa. It primarily inhabits savannas, semi-deserts, swamps, and the edges of rivers and wetlands. It preys on domestic poultry and fish, large rodents, and even the young of large felines. Adult Central African rock pythons typically grow to an average length of 3 to 4 meters, with some older individuals reaching up to 4.8 meters. Unverified reports suggest that in Gambia, individuals measuring over 7.5 meters have reportedly been found. In 1991, Swiss biologist Claude Martin documented in the West African rainforest that in Africa, near Bingerville, in southern Côte d'Ivoire, a giant rock python measuring 9.96 meters was discovered. In 1897, British explorer Mary Kingsley recorded in Travels in West Africa the following account. The missionaries in Calabar assured me that a giant python was brought to Creek Town. Its size was so immense that it filled the entire corridor of the church in Creek Town. I have no doubt that it must have been over 40 feet long. If these reports are true, then they suggest that in the unexplored rainforests, there may still be even larger specimens waiting to be discovered. Personally, I believe the key to the Katanga giant snake case lies in this photograph. Professor Ivan Sanderson's estimate of 200 feet was based on the proportional size of 2 termite mounds, but I could not locate in his writings exactly which 2 black spots he referred to. I am more inclined to believe the original eyewitness estimates, even though there is likely to be some visual error. Moreover, apart from Colonel Van Leerd, I could not find any detailed information on the other 3 eyewitnesses, including photographer Lieutenant Ginter. These 3 individuals never gave any interviews, nor left any written records. The most reliable information still comes from Professor Yuvalman's sources, the Bonnevie family. So, despite the many analyses circulating online regarding this photograph, they remain mere speculation. A black and white photograph makes it difficult to identify clear reference objects, so the true size of the snake remains unknown to this day. Like many other legends from Africa, it is shrouded in mystery. Perhaps one day, with advances in science and technology, and further exploration of the Congo rainforest, we will uncover the truth behind this legend. But until then, it remains a fascinating unidentified mysterious animal. Alright, one last thing, the unknown will always be greater than the known. And that is the charm of UMA. That concludes this video. Thank you for watching.